it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you are brand new, I'm very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And this is another build for my save file in the world of Willow Creek. And I wanted to build a restaurant and or a bar in this world. I don't have one yet. I stripped down basically the entire riverfront where I believe there was a nightclub or a lounge. Yeah, it was the Blue Velvet. I think they had that, and that's great and everything. It's basically a fancy bar, but I wanted something a little bit more versatile, and I had this idea. I don't even really know where it came from, but I was trying to think of the style of building that I wanted to kind of go for, and it just made me start thinking of like this really high class, fancy, posh, almost experimental restaurant. And I thought I would call it the Leafery, and I don't know where that came from. I didn't even have a menu in mind. Like, I don't know why. I just wanted there to be a lot of plant life on it, I think. I don't know where these thoughts come from. My brain it's an enigma for me. Like, I don't even understand. So, I thought it was going to be called the Leafery, and I ended up being able to stick with that. And I was originally thinking it was going to be a bar. However, I decided to turn it into a restaurant because it is really big. And I thought that, well, it's called the Leafery. That's kind of just like eating your greens and eating plants. So maybe it's just like a vegetarian restaurant. So that's what I went with. If you're wondering how this train of thought worked, like even I don't know. But I thought that was maybe a little insight as to how I got to this idea. Probably doesn't help anything. But I really, really love how this turned out. So it's not like this is anything super unique or crazy. I'm not super creative per se, so this is just a standard lot that we have, but I really loved it because my idea first off was kind of thinking of what the front of the building would look like. And there is this bar in the downtown area where I live that kind of has like this open bar, and they have this window where basically they can, I don't know if they have like a door of some sort that kind of like rolls up or like a shade or whatever, but they have this bar that's totally open to the outside, and you can sit at the bar, look inside, but you're sitting outside. You see what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm putting down? That's what I was going for. So the front of the bar there, you can sit at the bar while being outside underneath some shade, but I also used, I don't know what they're actually called. I basically think of them as skylights, but there are these skylight objects that you can find in the debug menu / show hidden objects menu, whatever that is, from Island Living, where I think they're meant to go on docks so you can look down into the ocean at fish and stuff like that, but you can put them on any surface. So I put them above that little outdoor area so there is some skylight. However, there is still protection for when it's snowing or raining, because if you have seasons, that is a huge risk. If you have an outdoor seating area, you don't want your Sims sitting outside during inclement weather because they'll get negative moodlets and get a little cranky pants. And I'm not about that life. So I decided to use these little skylights. So I used them on that little front dining area at the front of the building, and I used them on the back as well. I was trying to use this kind of, I don't know if that's called like a pergola. Do I even know what I'm talking about? I don't think that's what that's called. I don't know, someone tell me. But I almost used that from Island Living, but it just didn't really fit the look I was going for with this build. So I ended up just basically reflecting what I had on the front onto that back portion. And the rest of this is basically a patio that is open to the elements. So I'm thinking that that's only good in the warmer seasons that we have, and of course not in the midst of inclement weather, which you kind of have minimal control over. So since this functions as a restaurant, well, it's kind of unique. So if you're not going to use it the way that it is designed for my save file, then you could have like your sim go ahead and purchase it and whatnot, and that's great, but you could also just have your Sims go visit the restaurant and of course choose which table they're going to sit at. So if it is raining, they won't be sitting outside unless you make them sit outside. However, like for my save file, there's actually a family in Willow Creek that owns this restaurant, and essentially when she is there, she has no control over where the customers are going to sit. That's what I'm trying to get at. So there is an open outside area that is absolutely subject to the elements, and yet there are some outdoor areas that are not, which I really liked. There's a little bit of versatility there. I really like that idea. There aren't tables on aren't tables, there aren't umbrellas on the tables. So yeah, they're completely open. But out there underneath this little shaded area is actually the only long dining table in the entire build. So the rest of them are either like small bar height tables or just full like 4-seater dining tables. This is the only long one that will actually technically seat 8 if I had put chairs on each end, but I decided that it would just seat 6. And this is where the name of the Leafery really came into play. I started to put vegetation all over the side of the building, as well as using those hanging flowers, technically hanging flowers from romantic garden stuff. And I don't use those a lot. I feel like in a lot of the really bright colors, they just don't work for maybe my style of building. Even though I really do like pastels and a lot of vibrant color, it just didn't really fit with a lot of the color schemes that I would end up going with. So I was really happy to see that there was just a green one. So I was able to hang those plants all over these outside dining areas, and it looks so pretty in my opinion. Like, I really liked it. So I was really happy to be able to use that item in that way because I don't get to use it a lot. And now I'm also putting this really beautiful ivy all over the outside of the building. And if y'all know me, you've seen some of my builds, I freaking love this ivy. Like, I absolutely love it in any of the colors. There's like not a blue, there's a purple, there's that kind of like pinkish red color, and then a white, and I just love all of them, even though I usually go with kind of the pinkish red one. I think that's my favorite. But here I am hanging some of those quote unquote flowers as well outside of this dining section. And even though it seems like I spent a really long time on this, which maybe I did, it goes by really quickly. I put them on the inside, but I also put them on the outside. And what I had to do there is I had to lower them because they were poking through the ceiling, which I almost let slide. I was like, you know what? That just took me a freaking long time. I'm not doing that again. I changed my mind. I didn't want it to look like crap. So I went ahead and I lowered them just a little bit, and then I put these on the outside just to really add a lot of that greenery hanging over the side. I think it just looks so pretty, and that is exactly what I was imagining for a place that's called the Leafery. And now I'm just raising the foundation, and I wanted it to be a little bit raised because I did want there to be stairs leading to this building. I don't know why. Aside from the building next door and maybe the museum I made, I don't like making a lot of community lots that are ground level. I don't know why. Like, I feel like they have to be up and there need to be stairs at an entrance to a community lot, at least in The Sims. Like, I don't really know where that comes from, but I raised it just a little bit, added a few steps in the front, and I add some in the back, and I adored the landscaping in this build too. It was really fun because it's not something I've really done before. I used these flowers a lot around basically the entire build, and then I chose like 2 or 3 other flowers and just like tossed them all over the place. Like, the vegetation in this build is super thick, but of course it's the Leafery. I'm thinking a lot of greenery, a lot of landscaping, a lot of gardening, and I think it worked out really nicely. In the front, I add a couple of benches, I add a little trash can, and there are some other benches around the back as well as on the second floor patio. I think I work on that last though, so you'll see it later. But now I'm kind of just working on maybe some signage and other elements on the outside of the structure. Of course, I add some more plants. Can't have enough plants. I think I saw another Sims builder, I think it was Aveline, I think she was talking about how someone told her to like include less plants in her builds, and she was just like, no. And I genuinely laughed out loud because that's also how I feel. So if you were thinking of maybe advising that I include less plants in my builds, I am sorry, but I love plants, so I'm not going to do that. And it just made me laugh because this is definitely a build where there's just like so many plants, like so much freaking greenery, that if someone told me maybe use less plants, I might actually consider it in this one. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I like how it turned out, so I don't know. But anyway, here I'm working on the landscaping, and as you can see, I just completely cluttered it with plants off to the side. I had a couple of more benches and a few more trees here, and I also do it along the back. So basically along that entire back patio and off to the left-hand side of the building. Wow, yeah, I went crazy with vegetation. These plants are everywhere. And it's so, so pretty because the screenshots that I took for this build were actually in summer and all of the plants are super vibrant. And the lighting, like, have you guys noticed that during a heat wave in the summer in The Sims, the lighting is like perfect? It was literally perfect. I think I took the screenshots at 3 p.m. in game, something like that. And typically around that time, it starts getting a little wonky when it's not summer or not during a heat wave. It did not get wonky at all during this heat wave. It was beautiful and I really liked it, and all the plants looked gorgeous. I just love how full this is and how colorful it is and how much all of the flowers just like poke out of those bushes. I don't know, I just really, really liked it. And now I'm just adding a couple of more trees with, of course, some more plants. And then I end up working on I think the back patio. Maybe the back patio. Yeah, I work on the back patio. I had to check all of the outdoor lights as well because I did want it to be decently lit, but then I add some of the dining tables out back here. And what I put here too in this small little corner is a little busking station, I suppose you could call it. And I realized that maybe in a place like this, there would actually be an umbrella over the busking station just in case it did start raining. The musician wouldn't, get electrocuted and die because the amps got hit by water. That was my thought. So I do end up putting an umbrella over it, but that means that I have to play around with these string lights a little bit. They didn't really work then because one of the posts ends up sticking out of the umbrella. So I think off camera I do that, but just know there won't be an issue with that. And now I work on the inside. So let me just tell you guys a story. The woes of MissSimReno, because I did this entire downstairs freaking interior. And when I moved on upstairs to start working on the main dining section, because downstairs is kind of like the casual bar area, and then there's also a main dining section upstairs. I went up there, I started to play with a booth, and this game completely glitched out. It wouldn't let me delete the booth at all. It wouldn't let me do anything. And I was like, all right, fine. It glitched, this is pretty rare. Let's go ahead and just save it, exit out, come back in, usually fixes things. I went to do that. It was saving for like 10-15 minutes and that screen would not go away. And I was like, oh my God, I have to take the risk. I have to just task manager the heck out of it and end the program. I did that. I went back in, nothing was saved. So if there is anything different from what you're watching on screen right now in the final product, know that it's because I did not take a picture of it and I had to redo all of the downstairs, all of it. So there were some trials and tribulations. It was totally worth it in the end because I love how this build came out, but oh my goodness, I was so upset because it was so much time lost. Like, it was so much time. It was heartbreaking. I was so excited about it and I was just so bummed that it was gone when I got back in the game, but at least I had a decent memory as to all of the things that were included. So hopefully everything's back in its place and I didn't miss anything major. But here is basically like a small seating area when you do walk in. So there isn't any seating upstairs in the main dining area for, customers to wait for a table. So I figured what they recommend at this restaurant is to hop downstairs, sit down on one of those couches, or go down to the bar and just grab like a table because there are a lot of tables down in the bar area, as well as so many dining spaces on the back porch and the front. So there's plenty of space for your Sims to sit down and just kind of hang out or actually go ahead and get a drink or get something to eat. And I was trying to find a bar height table that would work. And you know why I feel so stupid? Because I'm going through all of these tables and chairs. I ended up like just saying, all right, screw it. I'll just use these tables. It's fine. They won't be bar height. And you know what I forgot about? The tiny living bar height table. But the reason I forgot about it, ladies and gentlemen, is because when you actually pull up dining tables, that item is not there. I swear it is not there. Like, you have to filter to the tiny living stuff pack under like all objects and categories to find that table. I kid you not. Like, it has never been in the dining table section or category, whatever you want to call it in my game. Ever. It's the same with some of the clutter items that are technically what I would consider wall decorations or miscellaneous decorations. They're not in those categories and you have to just pull up all of the items for tiny living. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that. If anyone else has encountered that, drop me a comment down below and let me know because that has been happening to me and it drove me insane. So after I place all of these tables, and then find the freaking bar height table, I stripped them all and put the bar height tables because I wanted the chairs to match. Granted, the dining chairs do match because it's the same pack, it's the same style, but I literally wanted the same chairs, especially since this is supposed to just be the bar area. I wanted them to be bar height. So I'm really glad that I ended up basically turning on the Tiny Living filter and looking through all of the items, because that's how I happened upon that bar height table. And now we're on to the upstairs. And like I said, this is the main dining area. So basically your Sims will hop on upstairs, and this is where the hostess station is. I add two, though know that for a restaurant, only one hostess or host will show up, unless you end up unlocking, I think some of the perks will allow you to hire an additional host or hostess. I'm not sure. I know you can get additional waiters and waitresses as well as chefs, but I'm not sure about additional hosts. I haven't gotten that far. I honestly don't play with restaurants a lot because they seem to be really delayed now. I did playtest this restaurant to make sure everything worked, and there was just a huge delay with my Sims asking for a table, actively sitting down, and my active Sims ability to interact with them or bring their food or anything like that. It takes like 8 hours for your Sims to go out to eat in the game. So yeah, I don't play with restaurants too much. I just think it takes way too much time, but it does work. Everything works fine. All of the roles that you are to hire work perfectly fine. Your Sims will, of course, like the random Sims will just pick random tables inside or outside. You don't have any control, but it worked perfectly fine. So that's a huge plus. And here is where I was trying to figure out the seating arrangement. And this is the booth. This is the death booth. This is the I hate you booth. This is the click booth that I absolutely hate. And this is it. You could see me trying to sell it multiple times. I had to literally like reload the game, rebuild all of downstairs, and then go back upstairs. So thank God for transitions. So you guys don't have to watch that chaos, because it was pure chaos. And here I decided not to use bar height tables. I just used regular dining tables. I sectioned off the dining room a little tiny bit. I just felt like that table was maybe a little bit more private, and it's pretty congested. I'm not gonna lie. Pretty congested upstairs, but I wanted there to be ample space for your Sims to come and dine. And what I actually noticed as well is the seating area that's right over the stairs. I have to get rid of it because that has to be the bathroom. You will see me at some point very soon go into the requirements and be like, huh, what do you mean the requirements aren't met for a restaurant? I thought everything was in there. Nope, don't have a bathroom. Sims need to go to the bathroom as well. I also forgot to build the kitchen, which I'm about to build now. So, as you can see, this was entirely well organized. I knew exactly what I was doing, and I'm an expert. And that's total sarcasm, if you're wondering, because I don't know what I'm doing half the time. But luckily, I had the space, so I was able to make this into a bathroom. And I actually create two separate toilet stalls. The actual toilet stalls we got with Discovery University were way too big for this spot. So I just made two little toilet stalls, and then there's a collective sink area. So that's kind of nice. I didn't just restrict them to one bathroom. And yeah, then I end up working downstairs on the kitchen, and there's actually two chef stations as well as a sink and everything that they need to do what they need to do. And that's actually pretty much it for the build. I love this build. I thought it was really cool. Lighting's a little off because of that open bar, by the way, but everything works. It's really fun, and this was a place that I would want to go to personally, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun in my save file with this build and the family that owns it. So hopefully you guys enjoy it too. I'm really excited to hear your thoughts, and I will catch you guys next time I post a video. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.